It's an international road bike race, and not a single person is riding a bike. Everyone is carrying their bikes towards the finish line, because just now there's been a big crash. The bike swerved and hit a bottle on the road. The lead cyclist fell. The back of the pack was affected by this. The riders fell all over the place. The bikes were also broken. Now it was just a matter of getting to the finish line to win. The riders have to carry their bikes towards the finish line. The black man crosses the line first, and as he celebrates, the referee declares his time invalid, because he's got the wrong bike, and the victory goes to the man in front of him. The man's name is Shuai, an underappreciated windbreaker in the team. His role is to help the line breakers block the wind. Even if the team wins the championship, he's still a line rider. On the podium, the windbreaker is left standing in obscurity, but because of the crash in this race, the line rider suffered a serious injury to his leg. The team had to hand over the line out to Marshall. He made a bet to his teammates. If he won, he'd get to race in the second tier. If he lost, he would give up his bike. He would go home to work and marry his wife. Xiao Shuai is very explosive, but his stamina is just average, and this race was almost all uphill. Xiao Shuai's team has lost 2 minutes. Now he has to save his strength, because his strength is on the downhill. As long as he can hold on to the downhill section, then he's sure to catch the front runners. With the windbreaker pushing, Marshall is out of the race. Now he can only stay above 80 yards. He can only catch up with the front pack. He's coming out of the tunnel. There's a rock in front of him. Instead of braking, he jumps straight out. Just as he is about to reach the finish line, Marshall caught up with him. He won the race by half a length. He became an instant success. He went from being a windbreaker to a line racer. He made it to the second team. He was on a par with the former lineout driver, Jing Jiyuan, but his pride soon ran into problems. The team's windbreaker was bribed for his own selfish reasons, bribed by Yung Ji-won's team boss. In the next day's race, Xiao Shuai was leading the race. Suddenly the windbreaker caught up with him, and took him right out of the race. Marshall loses the race. Yung Ji-won won the championship. He couldn't take it anymore. Beat up windbreaker. This incident made Xiao Shuai, earned him the nickname of the Devil's Rampage. He was also sent to the International Cycling Federation for 9 months. A $30,000 fine. Xiao Shuai was at an all-time low. Jing Jiyuan found out that his boss bought Xiao Shuai's windbreaker. He had a big fight with his boss. Jing Jiyuan felt that he had won in disgrace, so he withdrew from the team of his own accord. On the other side, Xiao Shuai had no more races. He drank himself to death in bars every day, but his girlfriend found out about all this. She was ready to leave the place. Even though Handsome came after him, he kept apologizing to his girlfriend. He was still not forgiven. Shuai didn't know how he could have become like this. In his girlfriend's absence for a few days, Shuai returned home. His mother's words helped him a lot. The next day he went to watch his girlfriend's match in secret. There was an accident during the race. 2 cars collided. His girlfriend's car was too late to brake, and went straight into the air. The gear hit his ankle. He fell to the ground crying in pain. He was so distraught on the stage, but she didn't give up. She picked up her bike and continued to race, although she lost the race in the end, but she was applauded by everyone. Her injuries were so severe that she passed out. The doctor told Xiao Shuai her tendons were completely torn. She had problems even walking normally. The only way was to use someone else's tendon to transplant it to her. Xiao Shuai didn't think too much about it. He decided to transplant his own tendon to his girlfriend, but then he might not be able to ride a bike. But he didn't care, because his girlfriend gave him hope for a new life. So he was fired from the team. He didn't tell his girlfriend about the transplant. He suffered in silence by himself. But this day my girlfriend looked out of the window and saw Shuai, who was recovering. She understood everything. She ran over to him and hugged him. They were back together. 3 months later, they started rehab. Shuai's tendons healed quickly. It didn't affect him much. He soon received a call from the original team owner. They wanted to rebuild the team. He was asked to be the line driver. It turned out that Jing Jiyuan had found out what had happened to Xiao Shuai. He helped him find investment to form a team. He just wanted to have a fair fight with him, but his manager turned him down, because at this time, Zhang Jiyuan had already entered the first-class team. If he lost to Xiao Shuai in the race, it would have made a big impact on him. But Yung didn't care. He just wanted to beat Xiao Shuai with a straight face. The final desert ride kicked off. Everyone was riding conservatively, because the race was 90 kilometers long, and the heat of the desert, everyone was going at an even pace. Save your strength for the final sprint. But shortly after the start of the race, Xiao Shuai went straight out of the race. Zhang Jiyuan was not to be outdone either. He speeds up and catches up with Xiao Shuai. The 2 top riders left the pack behind. The 2 were chasing each other until the end of the race. The final 5 kilometers, Jung's windbreaker rushed forward to clear the way for him, but Xiao Shuai kept his windbreaker Akita at the back. In the last kilometer, Xiao Shuai caught up with him. The 2 of them fought to the end. They used up all their strength for the final sprint. In the last 100 meters, Shuai gave up his position. He let Akita come up behind him. He was in front of Yung Ji-won's strength, just to save him at this last moment. In the end, Akita gave half his body. He helped the team win the race. Marshall also learned the importance of teamwork. The low point made him understand. You can't win on your own. In the end, Shuai made it to the first-class team, served as his idol's windbreaker, and Zheng Jiyuan in Europe. A new round of competition begins, and that's the end of the film. The film Windbreaker, a very inspiring and passionate film. It makes you feel excited after watching it. That's what youth should be like.